Commander Zorax sat comfortably in his command chair, tapping regularly with his four upper appendages against the glossy console. The bridge of the galactic enforcement vessel Sovereign Talon hummed with the sound of his personal console as his team got ready for the upcoming interrogation session. "Bring up the prisoner feed," Zorax said, his voice carrying the characteristic clicking undertones of the Vixari species. The primary view panel flickered to life, revealing a tiny holding cell. In the middle, a man, ancient and stooped, sat on a plain bench. The intense illumination struck his silver hair, casting a halo-like glow around his wrinkled face. Zorax snorted. "The humans sent their eldest specimen? This is the threat?" Officer Nix, the most disheveled representative assigned to this negotiation, approached the command platform. Unlike the massively armored insectoid Vixari, Nix glided across the deck with eerie grace. She belonged to the Lyrithi, renowned for their innate diplomatic skills and razor-sharp minds. "Sir, I wouldn't underestimate him," Nix warned. "Early scans suggest he's 87 Earth cycles old. His intelligence profile identifies him as a retired military officer. Jackson Morgan. Vital signs are surprisingly stable." "Jackson Morgan," Zorax repeated mockingly, making deliberately incorrect pronunciation noises. "Humans, always perplexing. Despite their physical limitations, they've spread across 3 star systems." He chuckled, a rasping, clicking sound. Other bridge officers joined in. Inferior strength, no natural weapons, dulled senses, soft exoskeletons. And yet, "The Council anticipates our report, sir," Nix reminded him. "We should begin the interrogation." Zorax rose from his chair with effort. Standing at full height, he towered 2 meters above Nix. "Perhaps this elder human will be more cooperative than the last examples," he said with a twisted grin. "Let's enjoy some time together." As Zorax and Nix descended 3 decks, to the detention level, crew members pressed themselves against the corridor walls in silent respect. Security Chief Krell stood outside the cell at attention. His kind, Draxians, were legendary warriors. Reptilian, with thick scales and powerful limbs, Krell's guards were ever vigilant. "Initial questioning shows the human has been quiet," Krell reported. "No complaints, no resistance. Unlike the younger ones we've captured," Zorax gestured. The door hissed open, revealing Jackson Morgan, seated calmly. He looked up. Blue eyes, clear and penetrating, assessed them one by one. "Good morning," he said, voice steady. "Or is it evening? Hard to tell in here." Zorax stepped forward, looming. "You will refer to me as Commander Zorax of the Galactic Enforcement Fleet. You are being detained pending examination of unauthorized human expansion in the Jackson Riel sector. This is Security Chief Krell and First Officer Nix." Jackson nodded. "Nice to meet you all. I'd stand, but my old knees aren't what they used to be." He offered a warm, disarming smile. "Also, I should clarify, I'm not detained. I'm exactly where I want to be." Zorax reached for his weapon, but Nix held out a hand. "Stand down, Commander." "You think this is funny, human?" Zorax growled, mandibles clicking in warning. Jackson's voice remained calm. "A little, perhaps, but mostly informative. You always underestimate us." He leaned in slightly. "You see an old man. Frail. Harmless. But that's your first mistake." Krell let out a low growl. "You're in no position to make threats." "I'm not threatening," Jackson replied. "Just correcting your assumptions." Zorax circled him slowly. "We've studied your species. Adaptable. Tough, but mediocre predators. No claws, no venom, brittle bones, skin that tears with ease. Even your senses are dull compared to most species in our union." Jackson smiled. "You're right. We are predators. But you missed one thing." He paused, then spoke softly but clearly. "We aren't just predators. We're apex predators." The word hung in the air. For a moment there was silence. And then Zorax laughed. Krell joined him. Even Nix smirked. Zorax pointed. Apex predator? Look at you. Weak claws, dull teeth. No venom. You call that Apex? Jackson didn't flinch. Apex predators don't win with brute strength. We win with intelligence, patience, strategy. Suddenly, the ship's alarm blared. Pulsing red lights lit up the chamber. Krell checked his comm. Sir, static on all channels. Reports of system failures in sectors 7, 12, and 15. Zorax turned to Jackson, mandibles clattering in anger. What have you done? Jackson shrugged. We've just been, talking. Humans are very patient, remember? Nix's eyes went wide. Realization dawning. Jackson nodded. Yes, Ms. Nix. Every previous prisoner you interrogated, they each brought something back. Not weapons, not viruses, just information. Another alarm. More severe. A panicked voice. Pitch engine room. Critical failure. Core integrity compromised. Zorax lunged, grabbing Jackson and lifting him. You'll tell me what's happening. Jackson didn't resist. What's happening is a demonstration. The ship lurched violently. Zorax stumbled, dropping him. Jackson landed with surprising agility. That wasn't part of the plan, he muttered, brushing himself off. But your engineers took initiative. I respect that. Krell raised his weapon. I don't advise terminating the subject without commander authorization, Nix warned. Jackson looked at Zorax. I'm actually the safest way off this ship, at the moment. The comm crackled. Commander, none of the Union's ships are responding. Incoming vessels are human. Zorax froze. You expect me to believe you came alone? Jackson smiled again. Did I say that? Nix stepped between Krell and Jackson. We should hear him out, Jackson nodded. Allow me to clarify something your studies overlooked. On Earth, we weren't the biggest, fastest, or strongest, but we were the cleverest, the most determined. The ship shuddered violently again. Lights dimmed. We didn't need to be the strongest, we just needed to be the smartest. Emergency lights kicked in, casting stark shadows. Zorax growled. You speak as if you rule. Jackson's tone turned firm. Dominance isn't about muscle. It's about will, adaptation, influence. Humanity has shaped its environment for millennia. We bend the universe, not the other way around. Krell's comm buzzed. Sir, total ship systems failure in 15 minutes. Jackson checked his wrist device. Actually, it's about 12. Your engineers always overestimate. Zorax's antennae drooped. Panic rippled across the command crew. He spoke, voice tight. What do you want, human? Jackson's eyes glittered. A new arrangement, one based on mutual growth, not subjugation. Krell bared his teeth. This is war. No, Jackson said calmly. If it were war, your ship would already be gone. Outside, human ships hovered, silent and still. They're not attacking, Nix whispered. They're waiting, Jackson confirmed. And so am I. The lights flickered one last time, then died. Red emergency lights bathed them in eerie glow. 10 minutes, Jackson said, glancing at his wrist. Perhaps we should finish this conversation somewhere more comfortable. Zorax stared at the human with newfound unease. Jackson stood tall. Humans no longer feign weakness, Commander. We don't start battles, but we finish them. He smiled. And right now, we'd rather talk. Communication systems are working properly, and our warships are receiving your distress signals, rather than those from your Union command. Krell advanced forcefully. This is not an act of war, Jackson's tone hardened. If we wanted war, your ships would be destroyed, not merely rendered inoperable. Your outposts would be targeted, not isolated. This is a negotiation. He turned to face the Vexari commander directly. As Zorax requested, if we wanted you dead, you would be. It's that easy. He pointed to the viewport, where the human vessels held formation, but instead of conventional weapons, They carried something far more important. Proof. Of what? Nix had requested. Despite fulfilling all requirements for full member status, the Union has methodically kept mankind confined. Fear, not legal precedent, has constrained our expansion. Jackson's eyes narrowed. We have records, council sessions where our proposals, despite meeting all qualifications, were dismissed, criticized. Zorax looked at him, stunned. How could you possibly have such information? Nix, Jackson answered calmly. We've had observers. Some you know, some you don't. Sympathizers who understand how unfairly we're treated. He paused, then nodded gently. Among them, not all, but some, the Arcturans. Many in the Union support your containment, Jackson continued, not out of hatred, but because they view human potential as something to be controlled. Feared. He stepped aside, gesturing to the demonstration. This serves several purposes. To demonstrate our capability and our sincerity. Suddenly, the ship lurched violently. Emergency lighting flickered. Control panels sparked and went dark. That wasn't supposed to happen for another 3 minutes? Jackson scowled, checking his wrist device. Zorax stepped forward. Your engineers are more resourceful than our models predicted. Jackson smiled. I admire their resilience, adaptability under pressure. It's a human instinct. A junior officer rushed in, speaking urgently in Vexari. Zorax's antenna twitched. I'm surprised your fleet is sending technical teams to our ship, he said. After all, you're the ones who disabled it. Jackson replied. The demonstration achieved its objective. Continuing the disruption would only bring unnecessary hardship. And that's not our intent. Nick stepped beside Jackson, observing him differently now. You truly care about our personnel's well-being? Jackson's face softened. Humans can be predators, yes. But we're also social. We bond. We care. Even for those who could be enemies. He turned back. You have 3 minutes. With our help, you might regain partial system control. Then, Jackson tapped his wrist. A small holographic document projected above the table. This treaty, he said, offers full sovereign control of the regional sector to humanity. In return, we agree to limited access to Union space and commit to sharing all scientific and medical advancements before public release. What could possibly match such a concession? Zorax asked. Jackson's smile was enigmatic. To start, immunity to the system failure you're currently experiencing. Suddenly, the strategic display flickered. Commander, a junior officer cried. Communication systems are stabilizing. Jackson nodded. Our team is working with yours. Proof of cooperation, proof of potential. Zorax stared at him, eyes wide. This was all meticulously prepared. We left vulnerabilities on purpose, Jackson said. A test within a test, not just of your systems, but of your mindset. Nix leaned forward. We need to evaluate them not as threats, but as allies. Above the table, the treaty terms hovered in holographic form. Zorax slowly stood. Towering over Jackson, he spoke with gravity. You orchestrated all of this to earn something we denied you. Through cooperation, Jackson said, not conquest. The Council ignores our potential because we don't possess venom or claws. But patience, intelligence, strategy, those are more dangerous. Krell stepped up beside Zorax. This human disabled our systems, compromised our security, and now demands we accept their terms? Jackson raised an eyebrow. Can you really punish behavior that demonstrates restraint? What's the alternative? Imagine if we hadn't held back. Silence fell. Zorax studied Jackson. All assumptions about humanity collapsing. 1 minute, Jackson murmured. Decide. Partners or problems? Nick stepped forward. Commander, I believe we should consider this. Carefully. This demonstration showed restraint. It could have been much worse. The council will demand answers, Zorax muttered, mandibles clicking. We'll give them answers, Jackson promised. With evidence of repression, we only ask for unbiased evaluation. Suddenly, lights returned to full brightness. Systems rebooted. The command center is fully restored, a technician called. Jackson checked his device. Now, Commander Zorax, do we proceed as enemies or as possible allies? Zorax looked to the viewport. Human ships still held position, silent, waiting. You've made your point, he said at last. I will relay your offer and my endorsement. Jackson nodded, pleased. We seek only a fair hearing, a reconsideration of what defines a threat. Krell asked, why now? Why this elaborate demonstration? Jackson's expression darkened. Because dangers exist beyond Union space. Threats we can't face alone. Nix's eyes widened. You've seen something? Jackson answered quietly. Our deep-range probes found anomalies, energy signatures unlike anything known, movement patterns that violate known physics, 12 sectors, affected, and growing. Curiosity overtook fear on the faces around them. This isn't about human ambition, Jackson said. It's about survival. All of us. Zorax examined the data. If true, the Council must reevaluate everything. Jackson nodded. The Union was meant for growth, for mutual protection. But you've kept one of your most valuable members outside the gate, because of fear, not logic. He pointed to the display. These ships carry the full data, joint research proposals, everything needed for autonomous verification. The command center buzzed with renewed purpose. Humans use scientific curiosity to break down political walls, Jackson added. That's what makes us apex, not dominance, but insight. The comms crackled. Commander, Union Command is requesting a status update. Zorax turned to Jackson. What if I told them the truth? We hope you will, Jackson replied. Transparency is the only way forward. And if you're lying? Zorax asked quietly. Jackson extended his hand. Then let the consequences be what they must. That's only fair. After a pause, Zorax returned the gesture, a little awkward, but sincere. Channel open, the comm officer confirmed. Counselor Thax is awaiting your report. Zorax took a breath, then stepped forward. The main display shifted, revealing a wise, ancient being unknown to Jackson, and so the reckoning began.